Donald Trump says negotiations with Iran are underway to end the war. Iran's leadership says that is simply not true. So who is telling the truth? The answer may be that both sides are shaping the narrative for their own reasons. Trump recently said that there were very good talks with a senior Iranian official and that there were major points of agreement. He also gave Tehran a 5-day deadline for a response. But Iran's top officials have strongly denied this. Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf said no negotiations have taken place and accused Washington of spreading fake news to manipulate financial and oil markets. That accusation points to one of the key issues in this war: the markets. Trump's comment came just as the US stock market opened for the week. His 5-day deadline also happens to end when the markets close again. The timing has drawn attention because oil prices have been swinging sharply with developments in the Middle East, reaching around $120 a barrel last week. For the United States, talking about negotiations can calm markets and ease pressure on oil prices. But Iran may benefit from the opposite. Tehran wants the war to impose economic costs on the United States and the wider global economy, especially through energy markets. So if Washington talks up diplomacy, Iran has an incentive to dismiss it. Looking beyond the messaging, the bigger question is what each side would gain from ending the war now. For Trump, the conflict appears to become more costly than expected. The war he launched with Israel on February 28th was supposed to be limited. Instead, it has widened across the region. Trump himself admitted surprise when Iran began targeting other countries in the Middle East, but many experts had warned that escalation was likely. Now the US president faces a difficult choice. He can extend the war and risk further economic pressure at home, including higher petrol prices ahead of congressional elections later this year, or he can seek a deal and face criticism that he failed to finish what he described as a short military campaign. There are already signs of that pressure. The US recently issued temporary sanction waivers on Iranian oil to calm prices. It is the first time since 2019 that Washington has eased sanction on Iranian oil in this way. Iran will have noticed that. It suggests Tehran's strategy of widening the conflict to the Gulf and threatening the Strait of Hormuz is creating leverage. Around 1/5 of the world's oil and liquefied gas passes through that waterway. But Iran's calculations are also complex. After being attacked for a second time in less than a year, Tehran now appears determined to create a stronger deterrent against the future strikes. From the start of this war, it has been clear that Iran had abandoned its earlier pattern of slow, carefully signaled escalation. Instead, it has responded more aggressively and appears willing to widen the conflict. Some in Tehran may have also believed time favors Iran. There are suggestions that Israel's interceptor stocks could be running low, which could allow Iranian missiles to strike more effectively if the war continues. At the same time, Iran is suffering serious damage. More than 1,500 people have been killed across the country. Infrastructure has been hit, and there are fears that the power grid could even become the next target. That creates a divide inside Iran's leadership. Hardliners may want to continue the war to strengthen deterrence. More moderate voices may argue that Iran has already demonstrated its ability to retaliate and should now seek concessions through talks. Those concessions could include guarantees that future attacks or stronger recognition of Iran's role around the Strait of Hormuz. So when Trump talks about negotiations and Iran denies them, it does not necessarily tell us whether diplomacy is happening behind the scenes. What it does reveal is something else. Trump wants relief from a war that is becoming politically and economically costly. Iran wants to ensure that it cannot be attacked again without consequences. Until those calculations move closer together, public talk of negotiations may remain part of the war itself.